Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I'll be introducing you to Postgres SELECT statement. One of the most common tasks you will perform when working with Postgres is the task of querying data from tables. And you do that by using a SELECT statement. So the SELECT statement is basically used to query data from a table. The SELECT statement can be very basic, or you can make it complex by combining it with several clauses. So you can use it in combination with other clauses to make the SELECT statement more complex and powerful. There are several ways you can build a SELECT statement, but let's have a look at the basic syntax you can use. A syntax basically refers to how something is written. So for a very basic syntax or a very basic SELECT statement, you can specify the column. For example, a table stores data in columns and rows, just like in an Excel spreadsheet. If you wanted to query data from a table, you have an option. Rather than query all the data, you may want specific data to query. So you can do that by selecting the columns individually and specifying the table where the data is coming from. And the way you will write that statement is this. You do a select, which is the select keyword. Select indicates you are trying to retrieve data. Select doesn't cause any damage to the database. There's no risk because all you're trying to do is read data. So you start with the keyword select, followed by the columns you want to retrieve data from. Say you have a table that has maybe 20 columns and you only want to retrieve data for 2 columns. Rather than retrieve everything and then sift through what you want, you can specify the actual columns you want to retrieve data from. This also helps save network traffic. Rather than pulling all the data from a table, you only pull down the specific data you need. So you assume you want to retrieve data from column 1 and column 2 from a table that has 20 columns. So you just specify column 1 and then you separate each column by a comma. Okay, so I want to retrieve data from column 1, comma, and then column 2. You don't need to put a comma at the last column because there's only 2. If you were to add another column, then yes, you put a column after the 2, but not with the last column. And then you need the from. The from is very important because the query needs to know where it's pulling that data from. So the from is used to specify the name of the table. The other way you can write a select statement is if you wanted to retrieve all the data from a table. So you want all the columns and all the rows. You don't want to be specific. You just want to get everything out of that table. The way you specify that statement is this. You do a select keyword followed by the asterisk symbol. That asterisk symbol indicates that you want to retrieve all the data from all the columns and all the rows. You also have to specify a from field, which indicates the name of the table the data is coming from. So these are the 2 basic ways you can write a select statement. These are just basic. You can obviously make it more complex by adding other clauses to it. But at the very basic, this is what a select statement looks like. This is how you would write it. You can also obviously make the select statement more complex by adding things, other keywords or clauses to make the query more complex. But in a very basic select statement, this is how you would specify it. So that is it for this lecture. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.